brings you the neo-dimensional training with a tab, digital visualization. We have the best-in-class EWM trainer in the market to deliver the quality education and share his experiences. Our approach and methodology to the training is unique. Let me introduce our methodology we believe in. Real-time case studies. We understand that many of our participants did not get any opportunity to visit the warehouse to understand the real-time scenarios. Introducing the real-time business cases every time and building the discussion on available solutions in EWM make the participant easier to understand and remember for life. Visual presentation. We believe human brains understand the process visually faster than the text. That is why our platform to explain each and every object on visual slides and the screenshots. Interactive methods. To keep the session alive, we always believe in interactive sessions and encourage the participants to ask as many questions and share his views and expertise. That really helps and gives other participants to gain more knowledge. Hands-on experience. We always believe in action rather than words. Assigning the task every end of the session, support the participants to run the practice seamlessly, preparing for the mark tests, etc. This is where we believe. And finally, the strength of our training. Mentoring even after the course. Our service is unique because we believe in after sales, meaning we always be in connect with the participants even after the course completion. The participant can always be in touch with us via WhatsApp or email. Thank you for watching and let us get to the agenda today. Hope you enjoy our presentation. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and follow. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
So we have something called organizational structure. So what is this organizational structure? Yesterday we discussed, right?
It's a hierarchy of a company or a factory based upon the entities, like how you're going to.
Great, you catched it. You nailed it. Huh? It's basically, it's like, as I was saying, these are all physical facilities in the real world. Most of the cases, I cannot say 100, but most of the times there are certain logical organizational elements also. But don't, in the beginning, don't count that exceptions, you will be confused. But in a simpler way, most of the organizational elements are basically what you see in the real world. You are replicating your business in SAP by creating organizational elements. So we have plant, we have storage locations, we have warehouse, we have storage types, and we have storage sections, and finally what? Storage bins. So the objective, one objective of EWM is to find the optimum bin, find the correct bin. Okay, that is one of the objective of a EWM solution. So whenever you receive a product from an external vendor or external supplier, so system should propose you the bin, the correct bin where I can place it. Based on its attributes, based on its product family, based on its product portfolio, whatever you say, it should give me the correct bin where I can place it in my huge warehouse. That is one of my objective of defining my EWM or implementing my EWM solution. In order for this EWM solution or EWM processes to work, this defining this organizational structure is your base. It's a fundamental. If you have a correct organizational structure defined by understanding your business requirement, that gives you a beautiful solution. Otherwise, you mess up again. The whole thing is messed up because it's a one-time structure. Defining organizational structure is a one-time activity over which you start building the whole story. If the base itself is gone wrong, you will realize it later, not immediately. It's like, it's not like you made something wrong and immediately you find out. No, after few transactions, few months of running your business, you immediately identify in your report, man, everything is wasted. You know what? You scrap the whole solution again. Have you ever faced such kind of experience before?
No.
Sometimes, it's very dangerous.
No, we perform SIT and UAT, so that we try to reduce the risk.
Yeah. Even sometimes, if you're given a wrong entities, you will have a lot of issues going forward. In one of, in my experience, I have seen one that, there are two, maybe I don't know it's right or wrong, but there are two warehouses which are located in two different cities. Okay, but they have created as its storage locations. I don't know how it has been justified, but they are created. I looked at surprisingly, but I don't know what was the requirement behind that.
They created them as one storage location?
Two storage locations.
Two storage locations.
One plant and two storage locations.
Yeah, even though they are physically, they are into two different cities, very much, like one in east and one in west, but they created as storage locations. And now we cannot change it anymore. It's like a name given to your child. Once it is registered everywhere, you cannot change it anymore. You should live it.
It happens. It happens. It depends on the organization rules.
Yeah. So defining and understanding an organization structure is very much important for your projects. Okay. So let us understand here. So as in hierarchy, you see the plant and followed by SLOC, storage locations, which are basically org structure. And so we focus more on EWM. Okay. So this EWM, like, it starts with the highest in the hierarchy as a warehouse complex. So you define it as one warehouse, and they are assigned to this warehouse is always unique to a combination of plant and storage location. So like, one plant, like, plant plus storage location to one warehouse. You cannot assign the same combination to another warehouse. Likewise, you cannot have it like this again. You cannot have like this. It's not possible. It's always, this is always unique. Okay. So as soon as any stock receives under, because the quantity updation always quantity updation always happens at SLOC level, and value update happens always at plant level. Remember this. Okay. So whenever you receive a stock in your delivery, again, any goods received against the delivery or purchase order, you should always mention the storage location. So as soon as the storage location is entered, system will check this configuration, which we did yesterday, if it is warehouse managed. So then what happens? System will expect all this transaction now. It should locate the bin, the exact bin. Okay. So the hierarchy you see here, the highest was in warehouse and followed by the storage types, right? And within the storage type, you have sections, and within the sections, you have bins. Okay. So you remember this extradis picture? The same hierarchy, if you remember here, you have warehouse, storage type, section, and the bin. You can see it in here. If you visualize here, you see, like say this is the whole warehouse. Okay, this is all warehouse like AZ dash XX, and you see these are the different storage types. Within this, I'm dividing into multiple storage types. This one storage type, this one storage type, this is one storage type, this is one storage type, this is one, this one. Likewise, this is also one storage type. I can define as many storage types based on the nature of this work. We will see that. Okay, so based on the nature of the work, I'm defining the storage type. Okay, and under the storage type, again, I have storage sections. You see, I can divide into multiple storage sections. This is one section, and this is second section. Okay, and again, this section, you have bins here. You see this. Let's say this one. So this is one, and this is second section, and you have bins here. You see the pallets here. 1 bin, 2 bin, 3 bin, likewise. This is what the organizational structure. If you see here, the same story here again. Only that you cannot have this pictures defined. In fact, you can define it by entities, organizational elements. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
And this is should be validated with business, right? All the design of the warehouse.
The system basically, the business gives you what they want, and you suggest them what it can be. In this org structure. If you are good enough defining the structures, you give the correct entity. If you are not, then you can give some different name, which finally everything is up. Sometimes instead of defining a storage type, you define it as storage section. You will say, okay, why it is required? I can define it, or you can say, if he explains you, I have the requirement of defining like this. He don't know the section and the type. Sometimes the consultant says, okay, why can't we create like this 2050 like this, one on one section? You never know what happens in going forward. If it is wrong, it is gone. So based on he don't know the storage types sections are bins like this. He just
but we need to
explain.
We need to explain to the business what is the expectation of using storage type, storage section, and storage bin. And I think we need to discuss the
discuss it. Yeah, right. We do discuss with these organizational elements and this terminologies. But how good can we take a judge on, like, as soon as we explain him, he immediately say, okay, this is it. It's not no, because you have a lot of technical validations happening in the background. So you are the better to take a call on what can be. It's again a suggestion again. You can give him a justification why you have taken this decision on defining a particular organizational elements. Yeah.
I think if the business have currently WM solution, it won't be an issue. But if they don't know WM or EWM, it will be a more challenging.
Yeah. What if
challenging
it
one.
is greenfield?
Yeah, greenfield, yeah, and
Then done.
brownfield, yeah.
So that's the story. Yeah. So you're getting it right, Indra and Hari and all.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. So as I was saying, the main objective, one objective I can say is to determine the bins. So the how the bins are determined, this is all the hierarchy. So you see here in this picture, there is certain stocks. Okay, certain stocks. You like say you received a pallet. Okay, and you see this is a pallet area. This is a high rack area, and you see this is a cases. This is a crate. It looks like a crates here. So you cannot place a crate in here. You cannot place a pallet in here in this area. So the system shouldn't give me this or this. This is something automated, so we don't discuss now. So it should determine somewhere in this area only. So that is how the you do it in your in your strategies. But oh my God. Okay. Okay. So we are going to define all this. Apart from this physical representations of organizational elements, you have something called activity area. This is very interesting, actually. It's a new organizational element. New organizational element which was introduced in EWM. Okay, which is called activity area. It's basically a logical representation. It mainly works. It is very much used in warehouse operations, optimizations we can call. Optimization of your of your warehouse operations. This is very much used in the optimizing your processes. Let's say, for example, I give you an example, but we will discuss more about this. Most of our document creations are based on these activity areas. For example, let's say a picker you received two products. Okay, you received two products. One is supposed to be go here, and one is supposed to be go here. Okay, so now what will be the best thing? There is one picker is available here, and one picker is available here also. So what is the best possibility of optimizing your process? So create a task for this here, and create another task and send it here to assign it to this picker here. So the work becomes easier now. Instead, assigning both the tasks to this picker, what happens? He has to first finish the activity here and then travel in the storage tab and place it here. This gives a lot of workload to this picker and the other guy who is sitting here idly. So the efficiency is reduced, right? So these kinds of warehouse optimizations are always as part of activity area. This is what it does. Okay, understood? Yes?
Yeah.
Not really.
Not really?
No.
Okay. You see, as I was saying, it's not basically dividing your physically, it's not dividing any of your space in the real world, but it is meant for optimizing your warehouse process. As I mentioned, one of your business process where you always get a product from your supplier, and few products are sent here and few products are sent here. And as I was saying, we have something called warehouse order. So this is assigned to the picker, right?
Mhm.
Following it?
Yes.
So this activity area helps me in creating two warehouse orders, like warehouse order 2 and warehouse order 1. How the
So in this
system is
case,
going to understand? Yeah.
in this case, I would need two activity areas, right?
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So likewise.
Okay. Clear.
Likewise, it's just one example. Likewise, a lot of optimizing your warehouse processes. This activity area is taken as a criteria, as a first priority. Okay, to increase efficiencies and optimize your business processes.
Okay.
Okay. So as I was mentioning, the storage types, based on the nature of the storage, what kind of a storage are you doing? This storage is different from this storage. You know how?
Those are
First one is
staging area.
Because one's on the
Yeah.
floor, one's on the probably in the other one.
Right.
You require a different type of forklift.
Right. There are so many, right?
Like,
there are so many
yeah.
differences. So many differences. It is used here. Racks are used. Floor.
Racks, yeah.
Floor. And it is for interim areas. This is a final base. And you don't need you need separate forklifts. It needs separate forklifts. Like nature of storages. And you see, this is different from this. Here you're storing as crates. Here you're storing with pallets. And this is, you see, this is again a different story. Here a manual intervention is possible. The forklift is using to pick or place the stock, but this is an automated warehouse. The human intervention is not possible. It happens through these guided rails, like each storage is made differently, and this is something called it's kind of a yard. It's a yard. It is again this storage is space is made for something else. Here you are storing the trucks or the containers, and you see there is something called here. This is some storage area which is communicating. It is like it is an intermediate to communicate your automated warehouse with your physical placements.
It's the conveyor, right?
Yeah,
right?
It's a conveyor, and you he's somebody here. He's placing. It's a manual pull. He's placing it here, and it is just traveling and placing it here. So it is kind of an intermediate points. In fact, it is. You see, even though it is an interim area like this, but it is meant for something else. And here also, you see, even though it is an interim, it is different from this. This is different, and this is different. Both are interim areas again. So likewise, based on the nature of storages, what it does and what kind of a attribute does it hold, you define different storage types here. So that to identify what storage type, you have something called storage type roles. You guys are following it?
Yes.
Okay, you see, you have so many storage type roles, so you will slowly remember it as soon as as you practice in the systems. Okay, so you see, we have something called standard storage type. It's a final bin area. Just visualize that slide. Okay, I'm not going back again. You see final bin area, and you have something called identification point. It is called access point for automated warehouse. Yeah, and we have something called you see, it is meant for basically putaways, and you also have something called picking points. You see, we are creating storage type with different storage type roles. Then only system will understand. Okay, and this is the access point for automated warehouse, but for picking activities. You can sometimes have the same storage type for both basically. For picking and put away, for picking and put away, you can have same kind of a access point, which is called identification or a pick points. And you have a role called a storage area group. It's basically, it's like your staging area. It's like a normal staging area. And we have something called work center, wherein you perform certain value-added activities or some labeling of your pallet or a repacking of your pallet which has come from external supplier, because supplier sends you as one type of pallet, industrial pallet or something, pallet. The same pallet you don't practice placing in your warehouse. It will be different size, so that you need repackings. And you also have a door connecting trucks and warehouse. This is also one kind of a storage type. And you have yards, and finally you have managing automated warehouses, special warehouses, right? And also you have something like a work center and storage area group. It's like a combination of a staging group and a work center. So you don't perform both activities differently, but in the same area. Like in the staging area itself, you do counting, you do labeling, you do repacking. So in those cases, you can create work center and staging areas. And finally, you have PSAs. So what is a PSA, Indra? If you're smart enough, you will tell me. What is a PSA?
Production supply area.
Oh, you got it.
Seriously, I need
What
to.
is it? What is it? What is meant for? What is a production supply? Don't mind, I ask you questions.
For any request of any internal movement for production material request.
Let's say this is a warehouse, okay? And this is your shop floor where you are manufacturing it. Now there is a machine here, okay? We call work center and production. So whenever anything is required, you cannot every time go here and go get the material, right? Instead, you have some place, hold it near the shop floor. What they do, as soon as a production order is created, a request is generated. As they were saying, reservations. So from there, like from here, you keep it here temporarily, and then they consume it here. This is called a PSA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if once the production is over, there is a possibility that they send back the material again to the warehouse because they don't want. Maybe the production is delayed for some other reasons. Sometimes the cold storage materials, which you cannot keep it here for long. So they immediately send it to cold storage and back. Okay, so you see now let's go back to the picture now.
One question here.
Yeah.
This
Go
place,
ahead,
production supply area is a temporary location, right?
Right, temporary location, right?
Yeah, but is there a daily replenishment or is there regular replenishment of
Right. It's a good
items from
question
production
actually.
to warehouse to this area?
Yeah, it's a very good question actually. You know, we call that as a cycle count. You know, we have a master data. Okay, basically there we define the methods, and in what perspective does it has to replenish. Okay, based on you only we have something called pick parts, create parts, release parts. Likewise, let's say for example you have defined a master data to replenish this PSA, production supply area, with one method called create parts. What happens? You know, right? Kanban methods. Kanban. You call that. What happens? In the warehouses, as soon as the crate gets over, okay, or it is nearing to complete, they replenish the whole cart, the whole crate, right? So that is one method of replenishing it. Or there is one more method, like you just want to replenish only with your production order. So whatever the products, what are the raw materials you need to that specific one production order, only that is issued. And once the production order gets complete, the materials goes back again. Or there can be another method, like in a bulk you will release it for multiple production order. So whatever the production happens, again the stock gets taken from here. Like there are different methods actually. It is part of one of a master data when you do configurations for integrating with production orders. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So now can we name it here? What we have discussed with the roles. Maybe you don't remember it, but let me take you here. Okay. So if I want to name this standard storage type, but you understand conceptually, right?
Yeah.
So what can be a standard storage type here?
The
Hierarch.
last ones,
Yeah.
the hierarch and the one in blue.
Yeah, this one, right? These are all standard storage type. And this one, identification and pick points. Yeah, right. You remember this one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the identification.
This is connecting your automated warehouse with your physical placements.
Yeah.
And you have staging area groups. So this is as simple as that. This one.
Next to the door, yeah.
Yeah, next to the door. Yeah. And you see what is this? You see work centers. Work centers can be somewhere here. By the way, you can consider. Let us assume you consider as a work center. You do labeling.
I think there is work center when they are packing the small boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can just assume that it can be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the doors, you see here.
Oh.
You see, this is a door.
7
You can
doors.
always, because when you're working with complex warehouse, complex inbound processes, that which includes multiple processes, like from container to door to staging, and staging to final. Likewise, you will define one of a bin as a door, and you name it as a storage type as door, and you have yard here. So what can be the yard?
The trucks.
Where the trucks
Trucks.
are
One,
there. Yeah.
which manages your trucks, trucks, containers here, right? And automated storage retrieval. So this is the one, right? This is considered as a separate storage type, not as this. This is different and this is different. Then only system will understand. It will be available to communicate with automated warehouses. Only then when you define it as automated warehouse. And you have work center in staging area group. It means like you can always define it the whole. You can stage and do labeling also. And in fact, production supply area, you don't have it, but somewhere in here, let's assume if it is a production is here and somewhere in this area. Okay. So now you understand, you're clear with this, right?
Yes.